Hey, how's it going? So I'm kind of unprepared today, but I do have my assistant. So I just pulled some cards because I was thinking about uh I guess just kind of uh the new horizon that's about to open up in front of us, or that we're crossing over into. I don't know if that's a good way to describe it, but I also wanted to talk about like everyone right now is supposed to be experiencing a big shift. I know that I have been. I can detect it. It's been a matter of like intuition being very strong and very accurate, very clear, which it wasn't always. And this is interesting. It's like acknowledging things that always were a case in my life, but I spent years going, do you see that? And people going, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Or you hear something and other people don't hear it, and in retrospect it seems obvious, like, yeah, I was hearing like some sound that this person didn't have the at that time, I'm gonna say, the particular ability wasn't I don't know, enabled so they could also hear. The reasons for that are manifold. Could be, I don't even want to go into it because it's not what I want to talk about. But I do want to talk about what's been happening with me. So here's an example. I started getting in my email some like tarot readings and just different kinds of divination type things, like a psychic and somebody that draws various things like soulmate or just future stuff of yours, like just these different artists. So I'm like looking at them, and then I get like a astrology. That was another one. I have a couple, like I think two or three that I get in my email that are around astrology, and some are just that and some are that and other things. So anyway, I opened up this astrology reading that I got, and it was saying that sixes and ones are like my lucky number, and so watch out for it. Go ahead and use it whenever I want. Pay attention to either number in any kind of like time situation, like if you're trying to plot out some future plan and you got to schedule it, you want to go for like the 6th hour of the 6th day on the 6th month, like whatever it is, the instructor with 6 letters in their name. Oh, your toenails are sharp. So I was like, okay, I don't, and they're like, play the lottery. And I'm like, used to be, if all you had was change and you could scrape together $1, you could buy a lottery ticket and maybe you'd get lucky. You can't buy anything with just $1 anymore. You might be able to buy like maybe a piece of fruit, something small, a cherry tomato, I don't know, a banana, maybe. That seems expensive now. But the point is that I didn't end up buying lottery when I saw that message. Didn't have money to. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just file that, I guess. And then I went outside to meditate right after that. And in the past I've talked about seeing pyramids and triangles and things, and I still see those, and I actually did. I kind of just wasn't looking really. I wasn't doing that for a while because I had some other stuff going on. So I was redistributing my time differently, and I don't know, sometimes like you shuffle around the priorities of stuff that you are thinking about, or whatever's like top of mind gets shuffled to a different position. So I wasn't like doing that meditation, and like I was doing meditation, but I wasn't doing the thing where I was seeing the pyramids and that. But anyway, so I see the astrology email about the 6 and the 1, and then I go to meditate and again start like doing the thing where I'm seeing the shape. So I start doing that, and the shape is now a square. But not just a square, a cube. And I was like, well, what is that all about? Because I didn't know. I didn't know what it meant, and I don't even know why I decided to look it up, but I guess that was just like the next thing to do. So I look it up, and I have to say, I almost drew a cube on there. And the cube I almost drew had one side open, like, how convenient. Imagine this is like a couple of the sides of the cube, and one side was flapped down like that. So, almost like a snare trap, you know, like you get whatever you're trying to trap you get it to walk inside, and maybe there's a treat or something, and then once it's inside, you can like activate a trigger and close the flap. That is what I thought when I saw it in my mind. And I don't know who's a regular viewer or not, but I have not changed what I have on there. I decided not to put the cube on there because I was unsure about it being open, and I was unsure. Like, I've learned some cube things over the time that I've been into this sort of new age stuff, but I don't want to just assume anything if I feel unsure. Like, if I feel sure, then I gotta ask, right? But if I feel unsure, then I gotta investigate, which means I gotta look it up. So I looked up the significance of seeing a cube. And the cube is one of 5... no, I can't remember the names of it now, but some kind of like building blocks of like reality, I guess, and matter and not matter, according to Plato, Plato, the Greek philosopher. And I was like, oh, okay, because there was like a star, like a pentagram, and a triangle, and a circle, and you know, like your basic shapes, your building blocks, basically. And there was an ascending order. They were on a scale, and at the top of the scale, or the end of the scale, was the cube. And the cube meant, what phone did I have it on? I think I have it on I had it on the one I'm filming on. Oh, well, I found this website, and it was called Core.3 or Core 3. I don't know if there's a point or not. I don't really remember. I think it's Core.3, though. And that's what that was one of the choices for a definition when I put in there, what does it mean when you keep seeing a cube? So it turns out, like, at the end of these different shapes that are like essential, I'm gonna stick with building blocks of like the philosophy that he had, that it, you know, Plato's stuff is complicated. I can't even summarize, really. Look it up. You'll find it, but they're like the elemental shapes of creation, I think, is pretty close to what it said. So, but the cube is like the culmination, like it's a 6-sided affair, and each side of the cube symbolizes some level of knowledge and initiation. Basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but that's essentially what it was saying, is like basically you have like graduated, you've passed all of the levels, learned the things, and this is key. When you have reached cube status, evidently you have reached ascended master status. And I'm like, what? But here's the thing. One of the things that if you watch these channels, these metaphysical, new age, woo-woo, whatever you want to call them, channels on YouTube, you are going to see channels with things, advertising like... you are an ascended master, like you just Joe Blow looking at YouTube, and maybe you're seeking that kind of thing out, spirituality, and maybe you're not. Maybe you're just cruising through looking for something that strikes your fancy to look at, and you land on one of these ascended things about ascended masters. Although usually the things that say it's about ascended masters talk about that ascended master in their life. But you can run across things that, like channels where they're saying, if you're here and you volunteered to be here, which is a whole other narrative, but I'm not going to confuse everything by trying to talk about that too. But if you're here, well, oh, great. Oh, that's why. If you're here on Earth, you meant to be here, you actually, like, there's a line. There's people that want to come here and live a human life and have the experience of being spirit in a human, and not a human having a spirit experience. It's the spirit moving into a human lifetime to have the kinds of experiences you can have as a human with a physical body. How did you get all the way over here? Anyway, so one of the things you are here to do is help people awaken and become enlightened about these metaphysical subjects. And there's all this information. And, you know, everyone still is unique and different. Not everyone is going to have the same experience. Like, there's some people that come fully, like, all of their sort of psychic abilities are turned on, or a lot of them are. And some people will be, like, very functional in a number of those kind of ways. And then other people will have something different to a lesser or greater degree, but maybe fewer things, or maybe what, like, it's just like life. Like, everyone has a different combination of skills and attributes, and so the same is true in this area. And anyway, when you're watching these things, and these are ones where you're like, they're teaching you something, and so they will say that, well, you are here, like, you're here to have a life of service to everybody else and help them awaken and remember who they are. Because the way I understand it is pretty much everyone that's here, you know, requested to be here and take part in this whole matrix thing. And come on, don't go out of my brain while I'm in the middle of trying to say it. Well, yeah, so you want to be here, and you asked to be here. So quit bitching and moaning about your lot in life. You did too sign up for this, gall darn it. But, God, I lost my train of thought. Really? Seriously? Well, I guess the bottom line is that if you're here, you meant to be here, and when you're not here, you're an ascended master. Pretty much, I think everyone, when they're not here, is, I guess, or something more turned on, I guess, than your average human being. So, okay. I guess that's the deal. so when I first started seeing that, I was like, that's too rich for my blood. I don't think, I just couldn't conceive of it. I guess it was a confidence thing, or, I mean, disbelief can come from a lot of places, like insecurity and like ignorance, and like I said, it could come from a lot of places. So it sounds like a venerable title to me, like something that like people really respect in that, and I'm like, I am having a hard time sort of like sinking myself with that idea that that's my actual identity. That was what I said at the time. I'm getting more comfortable with the idea because of like a lot of activations. Like some you can get them online. You can go to someone that you know is doing them on, and then like watch the video and get the activations. And when I say activations, I mean, because I think this is generally what it refers to, is turning on your DNA that was commonly known as junk DNA, but it's not. It's this whole like quantum system and storage space, and it regresses quite a bit. And I mean that just in the same way as hypnotic regression, because if you watch Dolores Cannon do it, she'll get so deep into the subconscious that it starts going back to like prior lives. And I really believe that there is truth to that, because of watching her stuff and seeing other people hypnotized, but especially because someone I know personally did it to someone I know personally. I didn't realize this person was a hypnotist, and I didn't know them well, but I happened to be visiting someone, and these two other people there with a bunch of other people. It's kind of a low-key get-together situation, and the host is like, well, hey, why don't you hypnotize somebody? So the guy says, okay, well, who wants to get hypnotized? And so my friend said, oh, I'll do it, this woman. And it was crazy. He took her back. I mean, he took her back to where she was like this incredibly young child that could speak, and her voice completely changed for like every regression. And then it started going like, after the baby, I was like, well, where the hell can you go? It's like, that's when she starts, is at the baby. Not true. There are prior lives that are hanging around, and I didn't know what to do with that at the time. I did not know how to compute that. But what I realize now in retrospect is that the junk DNA is where that stuff, and in your subconscious, oddly, two separate places, quantum, yet they still exist, and both of them know what each are doing at any given time at the same time. They're still linked. It's like a twins situation, like two people born at the same day and time, only moments apart. That kind of twinning, because they have that unspoken connection, and you can't get a picture of it, but it's pretty well accepted by everyone. Oh, can't believe in a ghost, or you can't believe in God. Like, there's so many things. ETs, nope, those ain't real either. But trying to remember the reincarnation that they can believe. So it's like, or the hypnotic regression, even it can get pretty far-fetched if you're not open-minded to like unusual stuff, but it's happening to all of us, that the activations are happening and the DNA is getting enacted. And so whatever aptitude you have psychically or like ability, you're either going to gain more or what you got's going to be enhanced. And I say that with confidence because not even much has happened except for the stuff that has been pretty nuts. So, okay, going on about the 6 in the cube, that I had gotten this information about the 6 from someplace else, and so then I'm watching again another something, completely other subject, channel, blah blah blah, the whole thing different, and it's this channel. Oh God, what is the guy's name? I linked his book in my last video. Henry something, I don't know. I don't even have anything for notes. I'll just have to write on my shopping list. I keep knocking that over. Stop it. So anyway, the guy has a book called the Book of Wisdom, and in it he had a lot of stuff that I was aware of. Some of it I knew partially about. Some of it I had the wrong or different information, and it's very much esoteric stuff. And I'm really like kind of loving that my algorithm seems to be sending me mystery school stuff. And it's like, okay, because I've sort of been looking into that kind of thing, and like everything else, it costs money that I currently don't possess. So that is not what I'll be doing. And alternatively, somehow the algorithm knows what to be sending me, or else I'm manifesting the algorithm to send me these things. Doesn't matter how it came, where it came from. It just did that, and that's kind of mind-blowing. And so here's what I found in the Book of Wisdom guy's book, of course, among other things, was he was talking about the cube, the 6-sided cube, which if you unfold it, becomes the Christian cross. Or a hopscotch, I don't know what you call it, key, I think is the word that you write on the ground with chalk when you are like a little girl or a young child. And that also was like to the tree of life in Kabbalah. So all of these things just are so closely linked together, and they're like right in front of our faces. But that that just blew my mind. That the cross is just an unfolded cube, and then I was having a vision of, before I even saw any of this stuff, of the cube with one side down, which meant that, remember I was saying it was the culmination of the graduation. You got the information, you went up all the levels. Now that you're a complete and whole solid base, you have many sides and facets, you can let down a flap and start letting people in to partake of the information. So that became a metaphor for me for the ascended master, because what do? They come here to instruct and to help people ascend and attain enlightenment. I mean, I have to get out my chime for that one. That was like so many just weird little synchronicities. But that is what I have been saying we can all look forward to. Like, in some way, if you're already along these lines, if you're already thinking along these lines in this way, then this is all going to make a certain kind of sense to you. You're already having an open mind and finding things like this believable. So for me, it's like it's great fun. I love it. Give me more all the time. Okay, so that is what I want to say about that. Let me do cards. So I pulled a couple of cards from the Angel Numbers deck. And the first one I pulled was 2424. Good times. And this is what I've been doing. Like, I was so stressing out about, am I doing this? Am I doing that? Like, I wrote like a novel. Well, not like a novel. I wrote a novel. And so I've been excerpting it on my website, and then, well, I have a future plan to do with that. Like, I'm not charging for anything that I'm doing right now. I have my reasons, and it's probably not the reasons you think, but it doesn't even matter. For the time being, I'm not charging, but once I have excerpted, like once the whole novel's been uploaded, then I'm going to start just selling it as a novel on my website or wherever. More to come, because that's just one of, there's two more that will come after it. So that's something that I'm doing, and I've kind of been stressing out about that. Like, I need to make money, I gotta do it, and it's like, wait a minute. I hate that feeling. I don't want obligations, I don't want deadlines, I want to do things at my own pace. I don't want to get stressed out because I'm going too fast. So here's what the card says: good times, leisure, rest, holiday, pleasure, love, affection, kindness, happiness, all to me. That's what I have been, that is my new, like, plan, you know. When this last bout of, like, I don't know, lunatic fever that I was having, and astrology effects, it was kind of hard to, like, stay on the level, you know, and not, I don't even know, I guess just trip out a little bit more than I felt like I was. But I you know, I was like, I don't want to go through it like that again. It's too hard on you, or it's too hard on me. I don't like it. And so when it started to happen again, I was like, I'm just gonna duck. And what I pictured was, well, I kept thinking foxhole, like I was just gonna be down sort of below the level of all of the chaos above me, a chaotic activity. Like, it could just pass right over top of me and go by so fast it would just bounce over, and not, who has time to look and see who's laying in the hole? So then I started hearing trough, and then various things came up like synchronicities, like kind of confirming, like, yeah, do that. That's the way to, like, stay out of the spray of crazy, is go, you know, where it can't hit you. And so then I was like, no, not a foxhole, more like a trough, because you know, a trough is a surfing term, or at least that's the one I'm thinking of, because it's also like a feeding basin. The trough that I am most familiar with is from surfing. I'm from LA, so I spent plenty of time at the beach, and as a surfer, I never really got up higher than my knee. Like, if I could stay on my knees and still call it surfing, I can surf. I couldn't stay up on my feet for more than a couple of seconds, so I wouldn't call myself a surfer. But I have a lot of friends that are surfers, pros and amateurs, whatever. Like, I have a lot of friends in the surf community, I guess you could say, or I did when I lived at home. I haven't actually lived in LA for 30 years, so maybe I'm stretching the term a little bit, but we'll go with it. And so trough is where you are between waves, right? Because one will have crashed, and then there'll be like a declivity, while another one is building up, and there's a sucking thing, so you end up getting pulled between these two waves of surf. The one that already passed, that has a little something still on one side, and then the other one that's like, this is happening. Like a stretching and a separation and just a redistribution of the water. Like, that's like all kinds of math, and I don't even know what kind of math. I'm doing my best. There's angles and curves and there's a lot of math. I don't know. See, like, stuff is happening and I don't even know how to articulate it. But anyway, away from the math, the space between the waves, which is not necessarily immediate, like it's not going to be all sometimes, depends on where you are on the coast. But a lot of times one will happen and then you'll have a moment in between before the next one starts doing anything, and that is the trough. So you're in between, you're in the trough. And that's what I felt like I was doing with all of this crazy energy. It was like, I wasn't in the water. I was just kind of like laying down on the ground. I'm trying not to go grave with it, but Foxhole's not really that much better. Like just a couple of bullets, better or worse, you know? But anyway, a trough. Like, how about a furrow in between rows of growing crop? Whatever, like an in-between thing where you're down below the surface where there's more activity happening. Is that clear? I just spent a lot of time on that. I hope it was worth something because I still didn't even read what the card says. You are worthy of affection, leisure, and pleasure. Ooh. If you tell your family and friends now, if you tell your family and friends how you feel, you'll find that you're all on the same page and can work together effectively. I'm having a hard time applying that to myself for reasons. Anyway, many people are rooting for you. Well, that might be true. I'm taking it all personal, but really, talking to you. Take it like I'm talking to you. Oh. If you spread love, it will find its way back to you multiplied. I mean, I have found that to be the case. I don't think that's like a huge revelation. I think everyone can look up an experience where it happened. If you're not a generous person, maybe not, but just a moment, please. So the other card I pulled was 0440. The gut feeling. I was talking about that a little bit at the beginning, where I've always had the gut feeling, like it's not like that special or unusual. Like everyone has some degree of something, some ability, some sensory ability. But that is one that in me is developing. I think I talked about it already. It's getting stronger, and I like that. But what I started to say was, as far as all of us having some degree of ability, aptitude at this intuition thing, how many times have you second guessed yourself when you said that, and then went, oh, no, maybe, and talked yourself out of it, and then later went, oh, I knew it. I should have done it the first time. I was right the first time. That is your intuition, and also that is you ignoring it. Like, trust that first. Trust that before you trust someone telling you not to watch something, or not to believe something, or to listen to somebody, or telling you to listen exclusively to them, and everybody else is wrong. First, trust yourself. That's what you have the intuition for. I mean, what a waste if you're not using it. You're finding yourself in situations. You're like, how did this happen? How did I end up here? Did you ignore your intuition? Because that puppy will tell you. It'll warn you. Like, that works hand in hand with the flight part of the fight or flight. Probably the fight part, too. Because not everybody's a fighter. Like, something happens, you gotta maybe in the moment, like, grow some hair on your balls. Okay, so the subtitles are intuition, betrayal, pessimism, Don't you do that to me again. Relating. Been there, done that. Value yourself. Insight, that comes with the intuition. Like, that's pennies dropping. That's synchronicities making sense of other stuff, or making sense. Increased perception. Love. You use more of that than the fear column, with all of the pretty much everything that isn't love, share, generous, happy, care, help. If it's not one of those, it's going to be the other stuff in the fear column. Anger, hate, envy, resentment. So, I guess know where you're going to stand. Monogamy. Well, I have nothing against it. I'm a fan, actually, but I know from past experience that it's not a sure thing. So, okay, now to the text. Follow your gut. It's more than just a feeling. Be real with people. Saves time. And focus on meaningful relationships. Also saves time. However, if you don't save the time, you haven't wasted it. It may not have been fun. You may not have liked a thing about it. You can't wait to get it out of your system, out of you. You want to just put it behind you. Eventually, something of value is going to come to you from it, because it's a lived experience, and those are not for nothing. Like, for ourselves, especially. I mean, forget trying to shove it on other people. This happened to me. I know what it feels like. Save it for yourself. You'll have the most impact. I mean, you can share also. I'm just saying that's my opinion. My opinion commentary. So the text says more. Remember, you also must bring value to the table. Treat others with respect, or else karma will bite your ass. I know some people are into that. It's not that kind of thing. It's not even an actual physical bite. Finally, 3 is a crowd. Well, I mean, it depends on the circumstances, doesn't it? So I pulled some, whoa, calm down now, some cards from my other deck, my new deck, and I am just going to read them. So the first one is, I got this yesterday. This guy. It looks like it looks Christmas lights. And it reads, if light is in your heart, you will find your way home. Use your intuition to return to the past. Be your own teacher. For me, this goes back to what I was just saying about having the experience and none of it being wasted, because you may not feel the light or see the light because you feel like you were having a bad experience that you can't wait to get to the end of. But things do come to an end, and in most cases your heart will see you through a bad time. You'll come out of it okay, and I'm taking that as finding your way home. And then use your intuition to return to the past and be your own teacher. That is when the sting has worn off and you can actually appreciate the experience that you didn't particularly enjoy in the moment. I pulled this card as well again today. They were not stuck together, so they really did want to come out. And I just love that it's very, very Halloween looking, being that it's October. And it reads, I am not this hair, I am not this skin, I am the soul that lives within. So, spirit having a human experience. I'm not this hair, I'm not this skin, I'm not even this person. I'm just having this experience in this form. The word is escaping me, so never mind. Beneath the surface, looks can be deceiving. Well, if we're not this hair and this skin, I haven't even tried to look at what I might look like if I'm not here. I don't know what all I could look like. Like, I don't know what I don't know. But, looks can be deceiving in a lot of ways. Like, people can con you. People can fool you. People can trick you into believing things that are not true about them and use your own... Like, you can be manipulated, and it's not a fun experience. That's just a side note. So the next card. So looking at you. To praise the sun is to praise your own eyes. So I find this interesting. Here's another odd little synchronicity, but I was watching something about how it's not great to wear eyeglasses, and it's kind of actually like, instead of like progressing your vision, it sounded like they were saying it actually regresses it. And one of the easiest ways to, I think they were saying, just reverse the condition of even needing the glasses was to spend more time looking at the sun. And that was in the Book of Wisdom, I believe, where we've been discouraged from looking at the sun. And I know that the sun visibly changed about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, when it went from it went from being like a very white kind of shade to more of a yellow. Like, it got a little softer, a little warmer, easier to look at. And it was at that time that they were like, okay, we've told you not to look at the sun, but that's not right. You can look at it. In fact, it will heal your eyes. And I was like, oh, really? So I've been spending a little bit of time while I'm outside just with my glasses up. And the Book of Wisdom is revealing in a lot of ways, but I also think it's kind of very paranoid. It's another one of those things like the Bible, where it all sounds good and a lot of it makes a certain kind of sense. Like, you can stitch together points A, B, C, D, etc., and then have the whole cloth make a kind of sense. But it has also gone through human filters, so there's quite a filter, I feel like, in the form of the veil and that type of information, like the reality of it. In us, we get flashes of it, we know some of it, but I think we just can't help but editorialize and massage what we do, like embellish. Speaking as a Sagittarius, I have to constantly watch myself not to embellish, because evidently it's one of those things that we just reflexively do. And I say evidently because I catch myself doing it. I've seen my brother who's a Sag do it. I've seen my stepsister who's a Sag do it. So, and other Sages, like, I know it's a real thing. Anyway, to praise the sun is to praise your own eyes. I'm also seeing that as to praise the sun is to raise your own eyes. Get some of that healing. Seeing clearly. That's what I would like. I mean, I like the style of my glasses, but I also liked not having bad eyesight. So, gratitude. Happy with your life. I am, I mean, if there's anything I'm in want or need of right now, it's just, how can I help? How can I help other people? How can I help people be happier? How can I help people find their way to wanting to ascend? Because I don't think that's like a thing that you can Like, I wouldn't feel good about shaping up or forming somebody to go have this ascension experience if it's not what they were already headed for. If it weren't what they already were wanting to do, like, that's like a weird that's almost like cult sounding to me. So I don't want no part of that. I did start doing something every day when I get up, is being thankful, like, from glad I woke up alive, which is not one I do usually, but what I usually do is I get to wake up, like, I'm so glad I got to wake up with my cat. We got to wake up together. It's a nice way to wake up. Or, you know, I'm happy that I live indoors. I'm real happy about that, actually. I'm happy that I have bounty. You can see behind me, you know, not the paper towels, I mean the grub. You know, I mean, I have the wherewithal to do this. I have the technology, you know. I can get these things occasionally, and that makes me happy. I'm grateful for that. And I am actually pretty happy with my life. So, yeah, I can't argue with this. I just have to point out, though, I don't know that it means anything, but I just want to point out, look at the eyelashes. They're different colors. It's kind of festive. So this card is about, like, the enlightening bit, enlightenment bit, I should say, or the awakening, is understanding, like, that wisdom, that book of wisdom. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff in there that people that are already on the track of this study of this spirituality stuff are already going to be aware of things, like what this card says. What you seek is seeking you. That's about the law of attraction and being magnetic. And again, from the book of attraction, this might have also to do with that red-blue thing that I was struggling with yesterday. The female is magnetic. The male is electric. Which one is red and blue? I think the female is red for the magnetic and the male is blue for the electric. Why am I telling you that? Oh, right. Because that's why the woman is magnetic. And like magnets, in order for them to attract, they have to both be at the same frequency. Like, you know, there's like bad ends on, I don't have any, there's these little magnets that used to come in pot holders, and you have those little loops that you hook them up, and in there would be this little, you know, whatever magnets are made of, I guess iron, metal ingot, a little tiny bar of magnet metal, and they came out, and I used to get them they used to have them when I was in elementary school, so I've never shopped for them, but I guess you can get them somewhere. But if you, like I said, if you put them end to end, one way they will attract and stick to each other, and if you rotate them so that the other ends are facing each other, the opposite ends, they'll repel and they won't want to touch each other. They'll do everything to squirm away from you, and that's actually kind of fun, like a weird phenomenon when you're a kid, because it's just like, what the. Alright, so I didn't read this, but yeah, the magnetism. What you seek is seeking you. That also, you have to not only, like, radiate magnetism to attract, you also have to be in a receptive mode. That also enhances your frequency for manifestation. The card goes on to say, believe, focus, intent, meet with destiny. Well, I mean, that's, when you learn how to really get a handle on, like, your own frequency and tuning it, then you learn to, with receptivity and magnetism, you learn to attract what you need and what you want. you kind of get to start to define your own destiny, and that is like score. That is such points. I'm just gonna assume, I don't know this for sure, but it makes sense. I'm just gonna assume that that's part of like the goal of the awakening and the ascension, and all of the awakening and ascending of your abilities and skills, like to that end, to create magic, basically, because that's what it will be like when we are all doing it. While the face of communicating with each other is going to be so different. Like, I mean, other races and species not from this world pretty much don't use vocal speech. Everybody, like animals here, are telepathic and communicate that way. There are people on this planet who are psychic and can pick things up, but not many of them are like psychicking back and forth like animals do with telepathic communication. But anyway, off this world, off Earth, everywhere else, people, I mean, I guess speech is used, but mainly people use telepathy. It's just faster. The thing about that is we have so much to hide. We are not ready for it. We are not doing it because we have so much to hide that we're not ready for it. If we were trying to hide everything, we'd just be open. We'd be doing it. So we have some habits and things that we have to resolve. We have some places to get to personally within ourselves before it's safe to just let everybody be all open-minded to the degree of, wait, you just thought, what about me? When we get to the point where we can hear each other that way, it's going to have to be, I am pretty sure this is the case from what I've learned over the years. It hasn't particularly, or it hasn't been precisely spelled out in this exact way, but when we're able to drop all of our crap, when we're able to let go all of the stuff that no longer serves us, that we hear talked about all the time, like when we're able to let it go, let it go, let it go, the it that we need to let go is the block I'm getting right now. That is what is between us and telepathy, that we put between us and telepathy, because do you want people to just know exactly what you're thinking and what you feel about them? I, for the most part, am okay, like good, bad, and ugly with that, but I can say that right now, I don't know. I might be having a moment and might want to harbor some nasty thing that I don't want nobody to know I'm thinking. I feel like a lot of that is going on, and that contributes to our not being telepathic. It's good. Like, we're not ready. We're not ready to know the reality of each other's feelings about each other. That stuff, we got to work on that. That's got to be developed. Or, well, you can set your world on fire. Like I said, I don't think we're at the point of telepathy yet. We're still learning how not to say words, or how to say words, but the right way. So this card says, set your life on fire and seek those who fan your flames. Let me finish, I'm not done. Kindred spirits, passion, follow your heart. So those who fan your flames, those are going to be like your soul tribe. Those are going to be the people. They're going to fan your flames because they want you to ignite. They want to be ignited by your flame. They want to know what your fire is going to bring out of them. Sympathetic fire. Like everybody's going to catch on fire with each other. No property damage. No, not that kind of fire. Heart fire, intellectual fire, emotional fire. Spicy. So yeah, kindred spirits, passion, follow your heart. I mean, be true to yourself, I think, is with that. You could also say, but also, people don't always like what you have to say, especially if you are like true to yourself and not worrying about playing make nice with them, or you know, trying to make everybody happy, like every once in a while you gotta like worry about yourself and not worry about what everybody else is thinking and what they're gonna think about you, because you often like you could be affected by it if you let it, but it's not going to affect your life in all likelihood. In like many cases, saying what you have to say, well, I don't know, I have to say from my lived experience. I was once asked a question in a job and I gave an honest answer. Actually, that's happened more than once, so I'm not going to stop answering honestly. But yes, I guess I have lost 2 jobs that I can think of off the top of my head for saying an honest answer. So, you know what? It was inconvenient at the time, but in retrospect, I don't mind it at all, because I don't want to be somewhere where I can't be myself and I can't say stuff. And I don't think anyone does. I think this is really important right now, because we have a lot of sort of resistance to people being able to speak their truth, speak their mind. There's censorship. You can't say stuff about people. This is not the same as when you're a child and they're like, don't bully that kid. Although bullying does come into it, and it's not just in the schools, it's just our whole lives. Like, bullies are just bullies that just don't stop bullying because school ended. It's their personality. They're like the scorpion. It's their nature. It's a myth. The scorpion and the frog, or the turtle, depending. Look it up. But yeah, passion, follow your heart. There comes a time where you just can't not say what's on your mind anymore, especially if it's beginning to compromise you in some way. But for me, it just got to be very hard over the years, and to not just say what I needed to say, because I just got sick of people doing things to me that I didn't care for, and I wasn't allowed to like say anything about it. Anyway, last one, promise. When you start to walk, the way appear. the way will appear. So basically, let me translate that. Start walking, the path will appear in front of you. Nothing's gonna happen if you stay standing still, if you stay stuck in place. Progress has to happen, and you got to motivate yourself. Taking steps, beginning again, creating the life you truly want. That sounds like reinvention, which you also have to do from time to time. Like, this is an extreme case, but if you have like a substance dependency, then well, for one thing, you start off the person that was before the substance dependency, and then you gradually start changing as the substance, you start to depend on it. In fact, you are addicted in like, I'm talking alcohol and drugs. So it's a progression, and then you start like one way, and then you get into the dependency part, and then if all goes well, you stop doing the drug or alcohol, and that is usually if you have to go, like, start going to like meetings and seeking like hospital beds to be treated and like gotten off your addiction, whatever it is, you are already well on your way into that personality, that part of your life, and then you have to take all of the next steps and decisions to get out of it, to stop doing it and not come back to the original person, because you can, after everything that you've gone through, being this other person between the two sober versions, And that's okay. Like, you went through that for some reason. For some reason, you signed up for that shit. And I say that shit because the addict's life sucks. The alcoholic's life sucks. Because it sucks. It becomes something that you have to get out of. Sometimes you have to seek help to do it. It's a major deal. So you might find yourself beginning again, becoming that reinvested, sober version of yourself, or new version of yourself. Beginning again, creating the life you truly want. Well, I mean, sticking with the whole substance dependency scenario, you probably don't want to go through that again after you went through so much to get out of it, and your body will be telling you, you really want to do it, you want it, but listen to your brain, because your brain's going to say, yeah, but remember when we did it, and then this happened, and that happened, and it was really screwed up, and everybody was mad at me, and I did things I regret, and you... you have to decide, like, what is the life you want to live gonna look like? Do you want to have this sneaking around, can't be around people that you want to be around because they don't trust you not to steal them blind? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on with that abuse situation, and I swear and tell you, like, everybody's experienced it. It may not change. It may be that everyone has to, like, become dependent in order to understand the need to fix it and how to, like, heal your way out of that. Okay, I guess I'm done. Whatever that was, I don't even remember what I was talking about now. Thank you and good night. Oh, missed.